Miro clearly very excited for this matchup.
He emphatically slams down his deck for
Yep.
Sava to cut. Miro's a very animated guy. He's a really nice, outgoing person.
Yeah, he's a great dude,
So,
and I know he took a break for a while this season, but he's back and obviously doing very well. So looks like we're about to get started. All right. And that's a mulligan from Miro. Let's see, what is that? 2 Hypnotoxic, Juniper,
Skyla, Computer Search, and a oh, what is that energy called?
Plasma.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen very many Plasma decks out, but clearly Miro incorporating Lugia into his big basics deck, and it's working out.
Aaron, I think you should talk about your Plasma experience today.
Oh yes, so today I played Blastoise Keldeo, and in the second round, I started Squirtle, and my opponent just started Articuno EX double Chorus Machine Energy game. Quite depressing.
Yeah, we both went 4-3 today, and we obviously did not have as good of a day as these two. As Miro mulligans again, so this is giving Sava some really valuable information about Miro's deck.
And extra cards.
Yeah, that's true.
But if Miro can start off the game and pull off an N, then those cards would just go to waste. Still doing some shuffling. The cut. Will he draw a basic? Oh, 5, 6. And another mulligan.
Well, that's actually a very key mulligan for Sava as he sees that Miro plays Max Potion, which can really help in this matchup and swing the matchup in favor of Miro. So Sava now knows that, and let's see if he remembers that and takes that into account.
Yeah, and this is going to be huge. Sava now starts the game with a lot of knowledge and 3 extra cards.
And we can kind of see in Sava's hand, he had a DCE and a Skyla, so it looks like he's playing big basics like Aaron said. With DCE, we can expect to see either Mewtwo EX or Boufflant, 2 of the main DCE users of this format.
Oh, there we go. 2 basics. Looks like we're about to get underway soon. Sava's hand looking very nice and big. The coin flip. Tails.
And we begin. And Sava flips over a Mewtwo, and Miro flips over a Lugia EX.
Oh, he has I see a DC in his hand, Chorus Machine, Laser. Lots of options he can start off with.
Looks like Miro won the flip as he is going to Chorus Machine.
Oh, and that's great because he does have an N in his hand, so he'll be able to just get rid of all those extra cards that Sava got from the mulligans.
And Chorus Machine gets a Plasma Energy from your deck and attaches it to one of your Plasma Pokemon, so it is one of the, I think it's the only energy acceleration from the deck. So that is really good for Miro as he can get 2 energies attached this turn and threaten maybe even a turn 1 Plasma Gale for 120 if he can get another
it looks
Chorus
like he will
Machine.
be able to get another Chorus Machine with this Computer Search. Wow, what a strong start. Contemplating it. So he gets rid of the Laser. And oh yeah, no doubt we'll see a Chorus Machine here. Wow, turn 1, 120.
And Lugia EX has an ability called Overflow, which allows Lugia EX to take an extra prize when the opponent's active is knocked out by Plasma Gale. So if Miro can pull this off, he will be able to take 3 prizes next turn with Plasma Gale. So this was a really strong start for Miro.
And no kidding, I mean, we saw him drop his entire hand and get the end he wanted, I'm sure, because Sava had all those extra cards from the mulligans. So if you're Miro, this is the best possible start. I mean, look at that. Turn 1, 120, threatening 3 prizes the next turn.
He's also threatening to bench Sava out.
Yeah.
He can't get another basic, which would just give Miro the win.
So the pressure's on for Sava. And 3 prizes. 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 3 I think we'll just see Miro do 120 here. There's not much else he can do with this hand. And yep, 120. It's ridiculous.
Oh, Sava just top decked the Terrakion. He didn't have a basic in his hand besides for that.
Does
That was oh, he has an Ultra Ball though, so.
I mean, if you're Sava here though, like, what do you do? This is tough. You're staring down a Lugia that has 3 energies on it, and you have no energy on your field. That's the first turn.
Yeah, I would personally give up on the Mewtwo because it's probably going down and try to set up a backup attacker on the bench.
Yeah. I mean, right now, what he needs to get more attackers on the field. He can't just leave this Terrakion out, because Terrakion really can't do that much, especially in the early game when you have no energies on the field.
Also, another critical thing for Salva is to get an energy drop this turn, because if he doesn't, then he'll be at a severe disadvantage because his deck does not have energy acceleration as far as I know.
Yeah.
And Sava gets Landorus EX with the Ultra Ball, which is an interesting decision because Lugia is actually resistant to fighting. I don't know what else he runs in the deck, but I don't know. What do you think about that, Aaron?
You know, it's tough to say because we don't know all of Sava's Pokemon, but I don't know. If I were in his position, I don't think Landorus would be my first go-to. I'd probably want another Mewtwo, but we see a catcher, and an N. Yeah, no, Sava really needs energy. If he can't get energy down, there's no way he can really compete against that Lugia.
Yeah, that was a nice play by Sava, capturing up the Boufflant, as now he's trying to stall for time and forcing Miro to have a switch to get back to the Lugia.
Yeah, but this is scary. If Sava doesn't draw well here, and Miro does, he'll be staring down a 3-price deficit right away.
That's the power of Lugia.
Yeah. You know, Lugia, a card that not many people, I think, talked about. Not as hyped, but it's clearly doing really well today.
And the first card Miro got off the end was a switch, so we will see a Plasma Gale for 120 again next turn.
I think, yep, Sava's got a switch too, though.
I think I saw a catcher in Miro's hand now, so.
Does he? If he has a catcher, that'd be perfect. I mean, because if you're Miro in this matchup, you essentially just need to KO 2 EXs with your Lugia, and that's all.
Sava puts down an EXP share, which is interesting. I have not seen that since
a while.
Last year.
Very nice. No, he got the energy he needed and the switch, and the EXP share definitely helps out too. But I can't imagine that Landorus EX going down this turn, but it'll help in the long run.
So Sava, Hammerhead.
Oh, he does have the catcher. Wow.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. Switch, catcher, and energy.
But I do think Sava did the best that he could with his position by switching into Landorus and Hammerheading.
Definitely.
Because on the bench, Lugia's resistance doesn't exist, so it does
right.
stay no matter what. And I think out of the bad position that he was in, you know, he's in a slightly better spot. Being down a 3-prize deficit on the second turn is going to be really severe disadvantage. But there we see the catcher.
Yeah, you know, one thing you want to consider is if Miro goes too aggressive and he just, you know, spends all his time on this Lugia, if Sava can knock out this Lugia and, you know, play an N, perhaps, and Miro doesn't have another attacker, then that's scary. You know, that's the thing when you play too aggressively and you don't have any way to, you know, come out of that. So he's opting to go for the more aggressive play here, which I don't disagree with. You know, if you have the catcher, why not take that 3-prize lead and put a lot more pressure on Sava.
So Miro smartly plays the end, knowing that he's going to go down to 3 prizes next turn, and is going to be almost useless to him. So getting rid of that now and getting the maximum draw that he can is a good play.
I mean, I just can't stress enough how threatening this Lugia EX is. Turn 1, 120. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Which we see why energy acceleration is such a big part of the game, especially with Colress Machine.
And I think we're just going to see Miro here go for the Plasma Gale.
Yeah, not much you can do with this hand, but hey, 3 prizes. I'll take that. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, can't attach those energies. He does have 2 Junipers. That's never a sight you really want to see.
It's not the worst thing in the world, though.
Yep, and he will take 3 more prizes here.
So yeah, Sava is definitely on his back foot now.
Yeah, this is scary for him. I mean, second turn and your opponent's taking 3 prizes. That's crazy.
So
now, how do you come back from this if you're Sava?
Well, you have to take out that Lugia. That's the
Oh,
most threatening thing
definitely,
out there. But
right.
the Buffalon as well is also a really scary attacker because Goldbreaker can just hit Landers for 120, and Landers really, 40 is with Hammerhead is it's nice, but it's not debilitating. It's not going to one-shot him. So.
Oh, we see a catcher.
Yeah. So I guess he is trying.
Ooh, and a Hypno.
If he gets a Verbank in play, he will actually be able to knock out this Buffalon this turn, which would be a nice consolation prize for Sava compared to what Miro has done so far.
Yeah, and one thing I want to stress is how common Hypnotoxic Laser has been in these states rounds. One of the new cards we gained from the newest set, and it's one of the most effective cards too. Being able to poison your opponent and put that extra damage and pressure on is incredible. And getting that 25% chance of sleep is, you don't always need it, but it's always a good, either last second desperation attempt or just to have that option.
So Sava is not able to hit the Verbank, so the Buffalon lives with 10 HP
yep.
left, but if Sava can't get the Buffalon out of, if Miros, can't get the Buffalon out of the active, he will just die from poison next turn.
Yeah, so let's see if Miro can pull off a switch this turn. That's the number one thing. Lugia EX is resistant to fighting, right?
Yes. Yes, so
And
it's
it has
weak to
what,
lightning.
180 HP?
Yes.
Okay, so that's scary because if you're Sava, you can't Hammerhead for a knockout. You've got
No,
to.
but he has put.
Oh, right, he's put the extra 30. Yeah,
Yeah,
excuse
so
me. So
Lugia's
he
now
will
at
be able
60.
to.
So Lance Judgment, if he discards all his fighting energy, would actually do
Yeah.
150 minus 30 for resistance.
Which will KO because it has 120.
So Sava's actually in a better spot than I thought.
Yeah, that's some really nice math. Works out perfectly for him. And I think if you're Miro, you need to get another attacker set up because I have no doubt Sava's going to try to target that Lugia next turn.
Yeah. I did see a Hypnotoxic Laser in Miro's hand.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
And he plays it down. And he
Gets
gets
ahead. Ooh, that is big.
If Lander stays asleep, Miro will be in an outstanding position
Yeah.
because he won't be able to knock out his Buffalon or Lugia with Land Judgment or
Ooh,
Hammer. Oh, he
another
plays
DCE
another
goes-
DCE.
Oh. I'm not sure.
I think he took that back. I'm
Yeah.
not exactly sure. I
Ooh,
would.
that's risky if you committed DC to low Lugia and you
Yeah.
don't, you aren't able to retreat that. Get a switch to get that out the active position. I mean, I'd like to see him. I don't know. I think you still want to go for an attack with Lugia EX this turn if you're. But if you whiff off the, I don't even know if you want a Juniper at this point. He has a lot of resources in his hand, like energies and catchers.
Yeah, I would try to power up because I don't think he can get the Buffalon out of the active position. So I'd start to power up the second Lugia just so he has a backup attacker. Because, like you said, if he can knock out that first Landorus, then Lugia, excuse me. If he can knock that out,
He's committing to it, and
Right.
we do see that Miro's already. He has one. What? He has 2 plasma energy left in his deck because he has 1 attached and discarded 1.
He's discarded 2. He's
Oh,
Plasma Gale twice.
Is it 2? Oh, that's right.
So he
So
did draw the
yeah.
4th Plasma Energy, so he
Very.
will be able to attach that. But that's probably not what he wanted because I'm
Did he draw the
assuming-
switch?
I didn't see.
Oh, that's huge.
That's kind of funny. Miro played down the Verbank City Gym, which will actually knock out his own Pokemon. But it'll also do 30 to the Landers, which is very
The
key.
Buffalon was getting knocked out anyway, so.
Yeah, but the
This is-
Verbank is actually really helpful for him because if he can't retreat the Landorus, then that'll put it at 60 damage, where a Plasma Gale will be able to knock it out, and he'll be able to take all 6 of his prizes in 2 attacks. Or 3 attacks, excuse me.
Yeah. Oh, here's the thing. Did the turn just end?
Yes, he passed, and Buffalon died from poison.
Has Sava flipped yet? I don't think so. Right?
No.
Oh, this flip is huge.
Yeah, the judge is actually trying to decide what will happen first. If Sava will flip for sleep first, or Miro will promote as active first, which is actually a very important decision, which sounds a little weird.
Looks like we're flipping first.
Yes.
Oh,
and he stays
that is-
asleep. That is really bad.
That 25% chance. Wow.
So now if
If you're
Sava can't retreat
This
his
is
Landorus,
really
then
rough because I think
wins the game.
if he were able to, if he woke up there, he'd be able to attach and get rid of all the energy on the field. And let's say he had an end. That was what I was talking about. All the resources gone. But
yeah, but not just that. If he can't retreat his Landorus, he can just Plasma Gale
For a knockout, yeah, this
and
is huge.
The game will be over. So unless
He-
Sava can get the Landorus out of the active position, we're going to be moving on to game 2.
yeah. Yeah, wow, I can't stress how big that Hypnotoxic was. And yeah, that's tough because now he can't commit to the Landers anymore. Unless he has 2 switches, but his number 1 concern right now is getting that out the active position.
Yeah.
So the question is, can Sava draw a switch this turn? If he can't, then the game is immediately over for him. And we do see the DC go into Mewtwo, so he's committing to that. If he is able to switch, yeah, that's a knockout on the Lugia. With 7 energy, 140, with a 60 on it. Yeah, that would KO.
Which would be very nice for Sava, and I'd actually say Miro would be in a
very bad
the
position.
worst spot there. So he goes for the Juniper, and if he hits the switch, then this could be a completely
It's kind of
game.
crazy, you know, normally this happens like...
Oh, I see a scramble switch.
Ooh.
That is huge.
And Sava counting to see whether Mewtwo will KO, and it will.
Doing his Mewtwo math.
Yeah. I mean, wow. You know, it's been like, what, 3-4 turns for both sides so
He got
far?
a regular switch too.
Wow.
This is turn 3 for Sava.
And we're looking at... Yeah, I mean, it's going to be 3 form prizes, and for how strong Miro's start was, things are looking... I mean, things don't look like they're going his way anymore.
Yeah, I think actually Sava has the advantage
Yeah,
now.
definitely. He's got a Landorus, which can bread in 150 the next turn. And the Mewtwo always a strong attacker, and it's been for the last year or so.
Yeah.
And Sava just goes for the KO there.
Not just that, Miro has no more energy on this
Yeah,
roll.
that's huge.
Which
That's
is-
why I didn't
yeah.
want to see him commit to DC to it last turn. You know, sometimes you got to go for those risky plays, but at the same time, if you whiff, then it's so huge.
So Miro promotes Landers to the active and draws a max potion, which won't really be helpful here. Looks like he has a fighting in his hand, so he'll probably attach that in Hammerhead. And I do see a Juniper, but he probably does not want to play that as he has his 4th and final Plasma Energy
Yeah,
in his hand,
that's
which
rough.
he needs for Lugia EX. So I don't think we're going to be seeing anything else. But, oh, I saw Hypnotoxic Laser, so we might see that come down as well. But besides for that, I don't think we're going to really be seeing anything else from Miro this turn besides for Attach, Hammerhead for 30, and maybe Hypnotoxic Laser.
Yeah, I mean, let's think about it. Like, for how the situation started, you know, after that first turn, you must be feeling great if you're Miro, and suddenly you just lost, what, 5 energy, and you have nothing on the field, and now you're staring down a Mewtwo with a double colorless, a Landorus with 2 energies, and I think if you do the math with Lugia EX, it's a lot easier to just KO 2 EXs than that, because now he has to KO an EX, and he'll want to KO that Terrakion because KOing 2 EXs is, I mean, you have to waste a lot more resources and time for it, and you have to take that extra prize. And wow, another head from Hypnotoxic.
And Miro's getting very lucky with his heads.
Let's see if Sava can pull off the switch next turn,
But
or wake up.
Yeah, I think Miro's plan of action here is he's probably just gonna wanna power up a Lugia EX and just try to finish this off in one swoop and just take out that Landers if he can, with maybe a Hammerhead snipe here to put Landers in position to be knocked out, and then maybe attach the double colorless next turn to Lugia, and then from there just try to hold out and hope that
his hand is really ugly. He has that Juniper Bia. He has so many different. He has a fighting, the last plasma energy, a DC. That's awful. And 2 DCs. Wow.
Yeah, and he's used the other 2. They're in his discard
If
already.
he Junipers here, he'll probably have like very few energies left in his deck to even attack and close out the game. So
he wouldn't be able to attack with Lugia at all.
no way. Yeah. Wow.
If he Junipers here, I think Sava has it in the bag.
He can't. I don't think he can Juniper here. He has to just attach and attack.
Yeah.
Wow. Really, you know, just a few turns gone by, but these are really fast-paced and intense turns. You know, Sava could have lost right there and right then if he didn't draw the switch last turn. So
shows you the state of our metagame right now and how
indeed
volatile it is.
And we'll see a Hammerhead, I think. Nope, not yet. But I don't think Miro will Juniper here. I can't imagine.
Miro's debating it, but I hope he doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine how many energy he plays, but he'll be gone of plasma energy. He'll be 3 DC in the discard. You know, it's 7 energy already. You'll have to resort to fighting for the most part. And I mean, the deck thrived on quick energy acceleration, and yeah, we see here he just goes for the Hammerhead.
Yeah, which is really the only play you could do.
Oh, he does the 30 to the Landorus. I guess, yeah.
I think that's a good play because if he's able to power up a Lugia catcher, just wins in the game.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, but the problem is, can he set up the Lugia? Because it's a lot harder now without Cobra's machine speeding it up, and he's gonna have to manually attach. He's gotta get a DC on there and 2 separate energies, and that's 3 turns. And Sava, I mean, I have to give him a lot of credit because he did the math there with the first Lugia EX perfectly. Hammerheading in order to bypass the resistance and getting a free 60 on there and just closing it up.
Yeah,
really
no,
nicely
Sava's
done.
an outstanding job.
Yeah,
you know.
considering, I mean, what he was staring down after that first turn, a fully charged Lugia EX, and yeah, I mean, this is tough, and if we see an N come down soon, I mean, Miro, actually, he probably wants an in right now.
Yeah. Although I don't think Sava's going to be ending him because, as far as Sava knows,
The
Miro
hands-
has nothing in
Yep,
his hand.
yep.
As we both know, he actually has something to work with, but he can't.
Yeah, and I mean, this is really tough, because, scramble switch.
Yeah, so we see Sava go for the scramble switch, and he chooses to move the DCE to lander, so
Yeah,
it looks like he'll be
that's
going for the
that's a
land
really good
judgment
play
move.
because he knows that Miro Miro can't attach. Oh wow, max potion too.
Oh, that was huge.
Excuse me.
So Sava attaches a DCE to Mewtwo, which is a nice play. And Aaron actually has to leave, so
Alright, it's been real, guys.
now we have my friend Tristan
Masick.
Masick taking over.
Hey guys, this is Tristan Masick, and I'm going to be filling in for Aaron since he had to leave.
And I don't think anything's happened since then. Sava attached
No.
the DCE to Mewtwo, and I think that's it. I think he's deciding whether to go for the Lance Judgment or just continue to hammerhead and soften up both Pokemon.
If he does go for the Land Judgment and Sava has a laser, he can, he attack, but if he had a laser, he could have effectively knocked out that land resist turn and gotten rid of all the energy. And the Lugia on board, there are 3 Plasma Energy in the discard, and Lugia can't attack unless it has a Plasma Energy, so the odds of him attacking are very slim to none right now. So that would have been a huge play if Sava could have killed that land resist turn. And we'll have to see how Miro can respond to that.
Yeah, I think Sava's leaning towards going for the Lance Judgment here. If he's able to Lance Judgment for 150 and get a laser and knock it out, that would be... I think that'd be game.
He doesn't need a laser anymore. Just Miro needs to have a response.
Oh, did he already
Oh, we
choose?
see a max potion, so...
That was really big for Miro, as that bought him another turn to power up Lugia.
Right.
Because I think that's really his only option of winning here.
Miro needs something. He could capture up the Terrakion and try to stall a couple of turns, especially since that Landorus has damage, and try to just clear his entire energy board, and then it would just come down to Landorus versus Mewtwo on a one-on-one. Well, not even. If you can kill the Terrakion and then kill the Landorus. Just Hammerhead does a crazy amount of damage if the active Pokemon can't move.
I don't think Miro has a catcher in his hand, though, so I don't think that's an option for him to catch up the Tracheon.
I haven't watched the game fully, so I think Miro's only used 2, maybe 3 catchers, so I think it still could be an option.
Yeah, I think Miro's only used 1 catcher, actually, so, but I don't think he has one in his hand. Miro is, you can't see this on the stream, but Miro is hunched over, really thinking hard about what he should do here. He's got his hand on his forehead, and he decides to Juniper, so he completely gives up on Lugia here because all 4 of his plasma energy are in the discard. That is
He's
big.
gone. He went through 3 double colorless, I believe, earlier, so that Lugia wasn't really going to attack anyway. So
That is a
I
big
agree with
play.
the Juniper because he needs cards, so he can't end right now because Sava just has too much board control.
Yeah, unless Miro plays Recycle and is able to get a Plasma Energy or a
I-
double colorless back.
I don't think he does.
Yeah.
But we've seen here the power of big basics. I mean, Miro came off taking 3 prizes in the early game, and Sava's tied it up, and he's actually has a very dominant position right now. Yes.
I have actually just been told that Miro does not play Recycle, so Lugia is not an option anymore. Looks like he's just going to be attacking with Landers and Landers only.
See Miro desperately counting his plasmas, coming to the realization that he has 4 in the discard. He does have a Buffalon in his hand. He decides to go after the Mewtwo.
I actually don't agree with that play because he only needs to take 3 prizes, so why go after a Pokemon that gives a 2 when you can just soften up the Terrakion and try to take that out?
If Miro has...
Actually, I take that back. If he plays Mewtwo, I don't know if he does, but assuming since he plays DC, I'm assuming he plays Mewtwo.
I think Miro's already gone through all of his DCs. He's
well,
checking now, we'll
yeah.
find out.
I think I saw 3 in the discard.
He does have an Ultra Ball and a Juniper, but back to Sava since it is Sava's turn. Oh, we see a double colorless on the Landorus. And here you gotta be thinking, if you can somehow get a laser, you want to fish for it because you'll be able to knock out that Landorus this turn and effectively strand Miro. And we do see a Juniper, so you gotta be thinking Sava's going after it. And if he gets it, I don't see Miro coming back from this. It's a bleak situation as it is. And we do see the laser, and this is more likely than not a comeback for Sava, and most likely a game 1 victory for Sava.
What a amazing comeback after being down 3 prizes on turn 2 and facing down a turn 1 Plasma Gale. Sava has basically dominated from
that is
the
one
rest
of
the game.
One of the downsides of Plasma Gale is that 120 is a good amount of damage, but compared to these big basic decks, it's just not enough. I mean, 120 can't even knock out a Terrakion. So, you know, Lugia's ability is amazing, but, you know, what good is it if it can't knock out a Pokemon? And you only get 4 shots with it unless you play Recycle. I believe that's the only card that can get back Plasma Energies until Thunderous EX comes out. See Sava contemplating his options, and we do see the Land Judgment. Oh, no, he should Land Judgment, yes. And we do see the Land Judgment, and he will go down to Poison, and it is a lone Lugia that cannot attack against a world.
Yeah, I think Sava's
he has
basically wrapped it up.
He might, even if he has the Mewtwo response. Oh, he does not. He has a Lugia, I believe, in his deck, and that is about it. So, and he only has 1 fighting energy in the deck, so Land Judgment isn't even an option for him anymore with the Landorus in his hand. See the Landorus bench. Does he have it? No, he does not have an energy.
Wow.
He does have the switch, so he can Hammerhead this turn.
I thought he didn't have an energy in hand.
He does have a Juniper. He can fish for the 1 energy.
Oh, that's true.
And if he does have a catcher, he could try and catch the Terrakion. And he does get the energy source, so he can attack this turn. I think at this point, Miro's best option is actually to scoop, so he can save some
Yeah.
time for top cut. Because even if he does win the next game, Sava will be going first in game 3 most likely, which puts him at a disadvantage, especially if this game goes into time. I don't know, Eric, do you know how much time has elapsed since the beginning of the game?
I don't. I also don't know if it's 60 or 75-minute top cut, which could also make a difference in
Right.
Miro's.
Well, we do see a laser,
Oh, that's helpful. If he can put him to sleep and have him stay asleep.
and he
well,
does go to sleep.
So if Sava stays asleep here, Miro, might be able to make a comeback.
Because Miro can hammerhead now and hit the Terrakion at 30. And if he can I don't know how much... There's 3 damage on that Mewtwo, correct? Yes. And we do see a wake up from Saba.
I think that wake up basically spells the end of the game here because
No, not yet. That laser will speed it up, but he doesn't have any option to one-shot the Landorus.
I mean, if he's able to attach an energy to the Landorus and retreat his Mewtwo and maybe just put some pressure on with X-Ball, I think.
I still
Yeah.
firmly believe that this game will probably go to Sava and that Miro should just kind of give it up. Simply because there is a time limit for the best of 2-3. And we see a switch from Sava, so we'll probably see the Mewtwo come out.
Yeah. Well, Miro is a very experienced and good player. He's also very stubborn, so I don't think he'll be giving up here anytime soon.
We do see an X-Ball and Poison. So I believe that Landorus is now at 90 damage, which means next turn, if that Landorus is knocked out, if that Landorus stays there, it will be knocked out by the next X-Ball, effectively making Sava the winner of game 1.
Is it Sava's turn? Sorry, I lost track. No, it's Miro's turn?
Yeah, it's still Miro's turn, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I think he's just fishing for an out that
Well,
isn't really there.
If he can't retreat the Landorus, then Sava can just X-Ball for the game. So,
Right.
and I think he's used... Oh no, he does have a switch in hand, so...
He can send out the Lugia there to take a hit, but
Yeah. Eventually, either through Hammerheads by Landorus or Catcher, X-Ball and Laser, this Landorus is going to go down. So, but like I said, Miro is a stubborn man, and it looks like he's just going to keep on going and try to win, which is a good strategy sometimes. But here, I think, like Tristan has been saying, I try to conserve time for game 2 because that's a must-win game for Miro, and the more time that he has, the better.
And I believe if game 2 does go to time and Miro wins, this comes down to a sudden death situation, which does not favor Miro, simply because if two Landresses, if they're both playing Landorus, and if they both start with Landorus, the one who goes first will obviously win without any extra help. And like I said before, Lugia hits for 120, but that isn't enough to KO anything except for Bouffalon in Sava's deck.
So it looks
So
like
he will be at a terrible disadvantage if this goes into a sudden death type situation for Game 3.
yeah, it looks like Miro prized something that he was looking for when he went for that Ultra Ball. So he's visibly frustrated.
He may have a Mewtwo in the prize zone, but even then, he doesn't have any energy to attack with it. If he did, that would be huge because he does have the switch, so he could switch, attach a double colorless energy to said Mewtwo and just X-Ball for the game.
Yeah.
Well, not for the game, excuse me. But he would put...
That would put him in an outstanding spot.
Yes, because then he could... The Landorus doesn't have... There's no fighting energy on board. The Expect Shares can't activate, so he can't get a fighting energy on Terrakion to retaliate next turn.
And he can just catch up the Landorus for the knockout, or just continue to X-Ball.
And it
So
looks like
there's a
he is
switch.
going to send out Lugia just to take hits.
It's really his only course of action here.
Do see him debate over an N or a Skyla. In this situation, I would like him to see him play the N, but again, there's not really anything Miro can do. He's kind of just, you know, seeing
Wasting
how
time
long
here.
he can last. Right, exactly.
So it looks like it is Sava's turn now, and at this point, I would just be fishing for the catcher if you could. It looks like he got a Skyla off of his end, so he's going for the Juniper, which basically puts Miro on a clock and tells him, you better win this turn or, you know, knock out my Mewtwo, or I'm gonna knock you out. So Safa just passes, sorry, excuse me, he just X-Balls for 40, and Miro goes for the random, looks like he didn't realize that there was an N off his first card for the random receiver. So I think if I were Miro, I would go for that because that gets rid of the Juniper in his hand, in Sava's hand, and it gives him a little bit more time to, oh, well, actually he just offers the handshake because he saw he has no energy left in his deck. So he won't be able to take the game, and Sava has a 1-0 lead.
Over a very scary first couple of turns.
Yeah, I have to give that to Sava. He really weathered that storm well and kept his cool and just figured out what is the best way to win.
And this just shows how powerful the big basics are.
So now Miro
Game
will
has come
have
to a
the
point
Miro will have the option of choosing to go first, which hopefully he will, because there's no downside to going first, and it's extreme advantage in this format. So Miro will actually get to go first 2 out of 3 games, but as we saw in Game 1, it actually didn't help him going first. He was able to get the turn 1 Plasma Gale, but Sava was still able to make that comeback. So is there anything you'd like to see out of Miro or Sava in Game 2?
I'd like to see Miro be a little more conservative with his Lugia plays.
Yeah, he really put all his eggs into that one Lugia basket, and once it was knocked out, he really couldn't get anything else set up. I think if I were Sava here, I'd just try to continue to weather the early Lugia storm like he did last game and just set up multiple attackers that just can't be knocked out. So I think that's going to be his plan again going into this game. And I think Miro is just going to, like you said, hopefully take a more conservative route and just try to, you know, set up multiple attackers and try to make this a more
I wasn't watching
well-rounded game.
earlier in the game. Miro does run Mewtwo, or he does not?
He did not play down a Mewtwo in game 1. So
it's simply
I think
Landorus,
it might have
Lugia.
been Prize though, because he Ultra Ball for something and it wasn't there. So I don't know, but we did not see it. So right now all we know is Landers and Lugia from Miro, and Sava has, I'd actually say, having the Mewtwo's and Bouffalan's give Sava an advantage, because those attackers are extremely good against Landers and Lugia. And Miro really doesn't have a solid option against them, because I mean, Landers, I guess you could say, counters Bouffalant, but the prize exchange is still in Bouffalan's favor because it's not an EX, even though it is weak to Landers. And I mean, Mewtwo, if you don't have your own Mewtwo, it's yeah, it's the best attacker in the game, really.
It all depends how powerful a Mewtwo becomes, because the Landers can simply Hammerhead for 30,
Yeah,
and then
land
just
Judgment.
land Judgment, and that will KO any.
And game 2 will begin. So
And here we see the power of big basics again. The Terrakion has 130 damage, and
you could still see a knockout here with a Hypnotoxic Laser if he's able to pull it off.
right, but that's another card that
He needs to have.
Right. He does have a computer search and a DCE. I don't think I see a supporter.
I don't. I would honestly search for the Juniper here and just go for it, because as we saw in the first game, if both decks get set up, Sava has an extreme advantage because, like I said, he runs Mewtwo and Bouffalant. So I'd try to go for the turn 1 Plasma Gale for 130 if I were Miro.
You see an Ultra Ball. I expect him to grab a Landorus with
Yeah.
that.
Let's see if he plays Mewtwo.
See a Lugia.
I don't see Mewtwo. No, he does not.
No, he says it's prized again. His Mewtwo
Yeah.
must be prized, which is a very unfortunate turn of events for
Yeah,
Miro.
it looks like he prized Lugia again. So, sorry, not Lugia, Mewtwo. So, I
Oh.
think that really helps Sava out here.
Another point that I want to make, if Lugia, we do see Miro using Hypnotoxic Laser. If the Pokemon Lugia attacks dies to the poison instead of Lugia's attack, Lugia's effect does not activate. So he will only get, for example, let's say the Terrakion it takes 120 and then Hypno Laser, he will only get 1 prize. He will not get 2 prizes off of the Terrakion.
But the thing is, if he's able to knock out the Terrakion, he wins.
Right, in this situation, but I'm just saying
Oh,
as
okay.
a general.
Yeah. I'd still go for it here because it's definitely his best chance to win.
I feel like Hammerhead would probably be a more conservative option,
Hmm.
because that does set up the Terrakion for
I don't think he has a fighting
knockout.
energy in hand though. He just
He
has
doesn't.
he just has a double color, so it looks like he's gonna try to.
He doesn't have the double colors anymore, just discarded.
No, he had 2 in his hand. So it looks like he's gonna try to go for the turn 1 Plasma Gale, as we can hear him saying off stream, YOLO. So he's definitely going for it.
And
Oh well, there's.
we see a laser,
oh.
and we see double laser and the plasma energies.
Oh, he did not get it.
The odds of him getting that were against him.
Yeah.
He needed 2 Colress machines to be able to attack this turn.
I'd honestly play the Hypnotoxic Laser. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Because that means next turn, if he's able to get off the turn 2 Plasma Gale, he'll be able to take 2 prizes. So I think we're just going to see Miro pass here and see what Sava can get.
And Miro does have a Skyless, so next turn,
Oh yeah, he can get Colress Machine.
he can get Colress Machine and attach a Plasma Energy and knock out that Terrakion. Granted that the remaining 2 Plasma Energies aren't prized.
So if Sava
Doesn't
Yeah.
have a response, we could see a very quick game 2.
I do see an Ultra Ball in hand though, so he will be able to get another Pokemon out. This is exactly like game 1, where if he didn't get a Pokemon, he would lose, but it looks like he's able to get a Pokemon here, or hopefully I saw correctly and he has the Ultra Ball, so. because no one likes to see quick games. Yep, there's the Ultra Ball. And it looks like he's...
Probably debating about what he wants to grab.
okay. As he discards the Verbank, which I think is a good choice here because it's actually hurting him more than it would be helping him in the situation. And he discards the Super Rod. Yes, that's what he's choosing. As it looks like he's going...
Sorry, I had to look away. What did he discard? Super
he
Rod?
discarded Super Rod and Verbank.
Okay.
I'd probably just go for the Landers and the Mewtwo here. One of the two. Looks like he's going for Mewtwo.
I feel Mewtwo is the better option here because he can't... Lugia can only hit for 120 and...
He decides to go for the Landorus.
Sava does know that Mewtwo is prized because Miro did scream out it's prized again.
Yeah.
For those of you watching this on stream.
But I think...
Oh, he grabbed the Landorus actually.
Because I know he has a fighting energy in hand. If he's able to get the switch and a catcher, that'd be a very strong turn 1. Just getting 30 on both the Landers and the Lugia.
No, the Lugia does resist.
If he has a catcher, then he'd be able to catch up Landers, and
Oh,
resistance doesn't matter. That's if he's able to. There's the fighting, and I saw in a Violet, I'd play that down on the Terrakion, honestly, to prevent the Plasma Gale from KOing it.
I feel that's more of a waste. I can see why, but I feel like if you can especially with Landorus, if you can put the Pokemon in a position where Lugia can kill 2 EXs, that is
Sava
game.
plays Tornadus EX as well. But the thing is, it won't matter with Lugia because even with a Violet, it'll still be doing 100 damage, so it'll be 2-shotting EXs no matter what. So I'd put it down on the Terrakion just to prevent it from getting KO'd.
I'm saying if he can Hammerhead.
So now,
It's
after the
back to
Hammerhead,
Miro's.
it is Miro's turn. And
I'm not sure if Miro does have a catcher, he can KO that Terrakion this turn, effectively putting him in a 2-prize.
well, he does have the Skyla, so if he top decked,
I believe he needs the Skyla for the Colress machine if he wants to go that route.
yeah, I don't see a catcher in his hand. So
He does have a Hypnotoxic Laser, so he can play that to try to start softening up that
the
Landorus. And we do see the Hypnotoxic Laser.
And the flip went off
And
camera, but it was
a
a tails.
Tails. And we do see an attachment to Plasma Energy.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to go for an N here, which is interesting.
I'm okay with that.
It's,
I mean,
yeah,
he
it's a
does
more conservative play, which I think is fine. Although Sava didn't have a lot of cards in hand, so I don't know what he would...
In this situation, though, there isn't much energy on since it's the beginning of the game, so I don't think it's a bad call, even if Sava didn't, because there is no way for Miro to know what was in Sava's hand.
I think the main reason he did is because he doesn't have the Plasma Energy in hand, and if he had prized 2 Plasma Energy per se, I wasn't able to check his deck to see what was prized, but just being able to shuffle that Plasma Energy back in his hand for the Colress machine, which he got. Oh, and he has a catcher. And a laser, so, or
he has 2
doesn't need a
lasers.
laser. So
He can capture that Terrakion and
take 2 prizes, which would
this turn.
be very big. Let's see what he decides to do.
We do see him play the Colress machine.
So he will be able to Plasma Gale this turn.
He does have an energy in his hand as well.
He played down a Plasma Energy already this turn.
He did, but he can attack the Landorus this turn and then just attach an energy, and since he has 2 Plasma Energies, that Lugia can attack twice. So he can just pray that Sava can't move it, or that he has to switch attackers and take 3 prizes.
No, he just said he's going to do something crazy, so we will see what Miro is planning. Never one to follow conventional logic. It'll be fun to see what Miro is planning here. looks
strongly
like he's-
debating what option he wants to take.
It looks like he's just going to go for the Plasma Gale on Landorus, which is a fine play, as it sets him up just to do 2 Plasma Gales and take half his prizes, and then potentially go after the Tornadoes. So that
It
is
does
what
force
yeah.
Sava to have to move that Landorus this turn.
and Sava
and
does
Sava
not know
and
that
Miro
Miro has a catcher in his hand. So
Right.
as long as he does not get end, he will be able to take 3 prizes next turn.
We see another Sharon. We see a Mewtwo.
Which I think is the key for Sava to win here, because Miro's Mewtwo is prized, and if he can just set up a big Mewtwo and
We
just,
do see a catcher. I agree with this play.
yeah,
Sava
it gives
probably
him
can't
time.
move.
Although he does have a switch in hand, as we can
And we
see.
see a Max Potion, which is absolutely huge.
Yeah,
Because
that-
as we said
yeah.
before, that Lugia can only attack 4 times. I feel the better play was to go after the Terrakion last turn.
just take the 2 prizes that you know are there.
Right.
Though he can still do that next turn if he's.
He can. He does
yeah.
have it. He does have a
Yeah,
switch
he has
in
the
his
switch
hand.
catcher energy. So
But I feel with Landorus already in the active spot, you might as well just commit to it.
and Sava is going to go for the Hammerhead here, putting Mewtwo, excuse me, Landorus up to 60 and Lugia up to 40. So let's see what Miro decides to do, if he decides to attack the Landorus again or go after the Terrakion. Although it also does not look like he has a supporter in hand, which could be huge if he's not able to power up a second attacker after his Lugia goes down. He'll just be stuck.
We do see a switch, so he's probably planning on, I would imagine, killing the Terrakion this turn. Sava doesn't have an energy in his hand.
I think just taking the 2 prizes and hopefully getting either supporter or that Mewtwo off the prizes would be huge.
He just needs something.
Yeah. So he does attach a second Plasma Energy, so we'll have 2 more Plasma Gales in it. And yeah, let's see if he decides to just attack this Landorus or go for the Terrakion. He just decides to attack the Landorus.
I don't agree with this play.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially with Sava not having.
Although I don't think Sava plays more than 1 Max Potion, but still, just taking the guaranteed 2 prizes is, you know.
Miro doesn't have many cards in his hand.
Yeah. Miro just might have accidentally showed part of his hand to Sava, but I don't know if he realized that. And it looks like he's attaching a fighting energy to the Mewtwo. And he's going to
see another
capture the
catcher.
Landorus again, forcing him to have another switch.
And another reason this is a very good play from Sava is that if that Lugia does come out again, Sava can just attach another energy to Mewtwo, and the Lugia will go down, assuming that Sava does Hammerhead this turn, because the Lugia will be at 70 damage,
It'll
I
be
believe.
Yes, 70. Oh, and he goes for a second Mewtwo, basically saying, get your Mewtwo, or I'm just gonna have a
I
Mewtwo
feel
train
more
run through
he's
you.
getting Mewtwo just because it's the strongest attacker in this match.
And it looks like he's going
You
for a
see
Juniper. So he gets another Eviolite. And it looks like Miro hasn't realized that the Terrakion is just 2 free prizes, so I would put the Eviolite on a Mewtwo.
I feel more. I could see Miro's idea that if he can somehow kill the Landorus and take 3 prizes, and only have to do that, have Lugia attack twice and kill 2 Pokemon, especially since he has nothing, that he might consider that as an option, but I feel taking the prizes would be better. We see a Hypnotoxic Laser from Sava, and that Landorus is asleep.
And the
apparently
yeah, the
we're
bottle
not
cap.
able to afford 2 poison counters, so we're going to use a bottle cap.
We're second-rate citizens here in Nanuet.
hopefully not second-rate commentators for you guys.
As Sava's just going to go for the Hammerhead again.
And we'll see if the Landorus wakes up, and he does.
Although that flip really didn't matter that much because he really needed a switch either way, which I don't think he has. And he's getting rid of the poison again. I don't think Miro realizes that poison stays. Well, he'll figure it out eventually.
The wake up does matter because that Landorus will go down this turn if Miro can Hammerhead.
That's
He
true.
is at
I did see it fighting
140
his hand.
HP, and then Hammerhead does do 30 damage, and then poison will knock him out.
Yeah, there's the fighting. So if he's able to just Hammerhead and probably soften up the Mewtwo with an energy on it, I think being able to take those 2 prizes would be very nice. And then that'll actually set up the Terrakion for a Plasmagale for 2 more prizes, which is probably what Miro wants.
Another play, since Miro does have a Bouffalon in his hand, he can hit the Mewtwo for 30, and Bouffalon does 122 EXs, and he also has a Hypnotoxic Laser, so that's 150 damage. Oh, but we do see the catcher now. I
don't
do
understand.
not
Yeah, I don't
agree with
understand
this.
that play.
I feel like this is more...
I guess he's just trying to soften up the Mewtwo a little bit more with Laser. Although the Landorus won't be knocked out because he won't be taking poison damage. So, apparently we were wrong and we just miscounted. So he had 150, not 140. So.
Sorry guys, we're watching this from a very small screen, so it's kind of hard to tell the damage, especially with the yellow dice.
Those darn yellow dice.
No, I definitely agree with that play then.
Yeah.
The Mewtwo is awake, correct?
Yes, it is awake.
And we see a double colorless. He can catch the... Yes, he
so
can
that
catch
will-
that Lugia, and that Lugia will go down this turn. And this
Will it?
completely
that's easy.
shifts the tide in Sava's favor, as fighting energies do not run energy acceleration.
Plays down the Violet on Mewtwo, which is a very strong play because the Landorus will only be able to hit it for 10 now, which is really inconsequential. And the Mewtwo is now at 50 damage, and he top decks a Skylar. That is big. Maybe Miro will be able to pull off a comeback here, because Sava's definitely got the upper hand. If he's just able to attach one more energy and Miro doesn't bench another Pokemon, that's game. Although we do see the Bouffalon in Miro's hand, so it would be a very wise decision if he benched that now.
Do you know... Oh, Miro runs computer search, correct?
Yes,
he
he
doesn't
runs
run scramble switch?
Sava runs Scramble Switch and Miro runs Computer Search. Which, I mean, you can't really fault either of these players. Both of those are very strong ace specs, and you really can't go wrong with either. They're both very good, and while Scramble Switch may have a stronger single effect, Computer Search is any card in your deck, which is one of the best cards in the game. If it wasn't an ace spec, it'd be played as a 4 of in every deck. So Miro
We
decides
see
to
Miro
bench a Lugia
I
and a
don't
Bouffalon.
agree with him benching the Lugia.
I don't either, because he's already used up, I think,
He's
3
used
plasma energy.
many resources.
It's just
as
2
it
free
is.
prizes waiting to be taken. He should have just benched the Bouffalon and attached. Oh, he doesn't have an energy in hand. Oh,
No, he does not. He'll have to settle for Hammerhead. He does have a Hypnotoxic Laser. He can play that and try to put the Mewtwo to sleep.
I thought I saw a Verbank as well. So if he's able to play down the Verbank and rack up some more passive damage on that Mewtwo, it'll put Sava on the clock. to power up another attacker. So Miro's just trying to figure out how many plasma energies he's used. It looks like he's used 3. Yeah, that's 3 energy. 3 plasma energy, excuse me.
So that Mewtwo on the bench can only
4.
4. So that we're again in a situation where that Lugia cannot attack.
Yeah, I think Miro would have been wise to check to see how many plasma energy were in his discard before benching that Lugia.
We see a Skyla. In this situation, I feel the best option is to capture up the Terrakion and just kind of catch or stall. Just spread Hammerhead around until you can set up the Buffalon to clean up. After all, he only does have to KO 2 EXs. I feel that's probably his best play from here.
Miro
we
is
see
just,
him going instead for the Juniper.
mulling his decision, his option, excuse me. And he just decides to take the safe route here. His hand is small. He's probably he will be able to play down all of his cards, I think.
I feel
this turn or next.
He took the Juniper simply because he doesn't have a supporter.
He could also choose to go for the end, maybe for hand
he's
disruption.
going to catcher
And laser. And it goes off the table, so he'll have to reflip. And he gets tails, which...
I feel I would have saved the laser.
Yeah, I agree, because the Terrakion is already softened up enough, and it really doesn't need any
Because the
more
main
damage
purpose
on it.
of bringing a Terrakion into the active spot is to buy turns.
So apparently they think Burbank is in play, and they put 3 damage on the Terrakion.
Landorus did Hammerhead.
Oh, I thought it only had laser damage on the first turn on it.
Yes, that's why it's at 4.
But there's no Burbank in play.
Because Landorus Hammerhead.
Oh, right, I'm sorry. Excuse me. So it looks like he's going to
He's
go
debating
after,
about where to put 30 on.
yeah, so he goes after the Tornadoes, which I think is smart. He was debating putting it on Mewtwo, but there's really no need at this point because Landorus's Lance Judgment can knock it out even with the Eviolite now. So
I disagree, simply because...
Where would you have put it then?
If he does put it on the Mewtwo, simply because if he does put it on the Mewtwo, I don't think... because if he does put it on the Mewtwo, Buffalon Goldbreaker would hit for 100 and the Mewtwo's already at 50. So you can soften it up potentially.
Well, with a laser, the Mewtwo would have gone down anyways with a Goldbreaker, but he used one of his lasers last turn.
Right.
So.
That's why I said I put it on the Mewtwo, just because it does open up that option that Goldbreaker can, but at this point it doesn't really matter. That Mewtwo is going to pretty much go to town. And
I think Sava has this game almost wrapped up again. Miro's board position is very weak.
Miro's only attacker is a Buffalon, which he can't even attach energy to without Mewtwo becoming stronger, and Lugia can't attack.
And Sava just has to KO that Landorus and that Mewtwo, and he'll be able to KO the Landorus this turn. If he's just able to catch up the Lugia and just attach a double colorless, he'll be able to hit for 120 damage. And if he's able to put down a laser and a Verbank, then that Lugia will have to retreat or else it'll lose. So Miro actually sends up the Lugia, which...
He does top deck the Plasma Energy.
He top decked the Plasma? I thought they were all in his discard.
I believe only 3 were in the discard.
So I guess we kind of draw.
We might have counted the Colress machine. Oh, he does discard the Plasma Energy.
Which is interesting. I guess he's just putting all his eggs in Buffalon's basket.
At this point, he doesn't really have much of a choice.
Yeah, so he's attaching the double colorless to Buffalon.
I think it's smart of Sava to realize that Miro, more likely than not, does not play Burbank.
Yeah. And Miro just scoops.
Miro's... It looks like Miro's just going to go. Oh, there was prize. That's why
Yeah.
I didn't. Huh? I wasn't watching.
So that
And
is the
Sava
game.
will move on to top 8.
Yeah, so Sava, our defending New York State champion, will be alive and still will be contending to repeat as champion, while Miro still takes home, I
Yes,
think,
he
30
had a-
championship points.
20 championship points. He had a
Which is-
7-0 streak in Swiss, a very strong showing. And top 16 is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah.
So we will be back with top 8. Thanks, guys. Stay tuned.
Thanks for watching.